Whoever is a genuine client of Margaya's, only they are ready to pay him. Okay, only they pay partial amount. So whoever had invested in Margaya's financial institution, all of them come back asking for money back. So due to this loss of account book, what and all are the complications that have taken place in Margaya's life? So when he shows his horoscope to the priest suggests him to do Lakshmi Puja. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Shalini, Professor of English, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Today we are here to discuss about the summary, that is the part-wise summary of the text prescribed for you, that is the financial expert that is prescribed for third semester B.B.A. Discuss the part-wise as I said. So what is there in today's module? What are we going to learn? So I'll just give you an overall short summary of the whole novel. Okay. After that, we'll go with part 1. Then we'll cover the part 2 also. Okay. So let's begin our session. So first thing I said was the overall summary of financial expert. So this we are going to discuss at first. In a nutshell, I'm going to give you the story of the financial expert. That is the text prescribed for you. Okay. So to begin with, the author R.K. Narayan begins with the Margaya's work, okay, that is in front of the cooperative bank. So here he works under a banyan tree in front of the bank. Okay, so here you must know that I'm just telling you this summary because if you know the story, overall story, then you'll be able to write it on your own. So it's good to know the story. It's good to know the summary. Fine. So as we started, Margaya works in front of the cooperative bank under a banyan tree. He keeps helping the villagers in getting the loans from the cooperative bank. Okay, he has an iron box in which he has some applications for loan and all. Then he has some maybe an ink pot and an old pen. So all these he'll have. It is his possession. Okay, inside that iron box he will have all these. Okay, he considers it as his sole possession. Fine. So people come to him asking for help to apply for loans in the cooperative bank for various reasons. Okay. So if they directly approach the cooperative bank, there might be one or the other reason wherein the loan might be rejected. Okay. But if they go through Margaya, it was a sure shot that it would be done. So whenever he applies for some loan or something, he just takes some commission. Okay. So that was what Margaya's work was. Fine. So here it actually, the whole story is about how Margaya was working, what is his downfall, what is his rise, then again he returns to his original position. Okay. So first is actually Margaya's downfall. Okay. Initially you cannot consider it as downfall because at what stage he was, he just comes down a little bit. Okay. So you can write here Margaya's downfall if at all you are asked. Okay. There are 2 points which you can discuss. But initially I'm just telling you the summary. So just know the story, that's enough. Okay. So Margaya, he deals with people and he has an account book wherein he has information about who should pay how much for him. Okay, about the loans and all. But what happens when he goes back home one day and his son wants him to play with? Okay, so what he does, he has no time to play with because he was just looking at the accounts. So son gets angry and he just pulls the account book, he throws it to the gutter. Okay, so here comes the gutter incident. Okay, gutter incident is very famous in this one, the financial expert. Okay, so that starts, that is the beginning of Margaya's the change in life of Margaya. Okay, so here gutter incident is very important. So what he does, he loses track of whoever had to pay him money. Okay, so that is gone to the gutter. Finally Margaya is literally left with no money at all. Okay, he almost loses all the money what he has to get. Whoever is a genuine client of Margaya's, only they are ready to pay him. Okay, only they pay partial amount. Okay, so only that is paid. So he is literally left with no money. Then he thinks of ways in which he can earn money. Okay, either to do business or maybe some other way. Then finally he goes and meets a priest. Okay, the priest suggests him to do a Lakshmi Puja, perform a Lakshmi Puja, wherein he'll be able to earn money. Okay, so Margaya does that, and when he goes to fetch a lotus flower for puja, then he meets Dr. Pal. Okay, so there when he meets Dr. Pal, there a way is shown to him to earn money to Margaya. Okay, so that is very important. That is the lotus pond incident. Okay, so that can also be mentioned there. So from there begins Margaya's rise. Okay, his meeting with Dr. Pal. Okay, his meeting with Dr. Pal paves him new way to earn money. Okay, then Dr. Pal shows his the manuscript that he has written about the marital happiness. Okay, so Margaya buys it from Dr. Pal and he gets it published in his name. Fine. Then it is such a success that Margaya gets lot of money from that. And finally, what happens? Margaya he starts his own business. Like finally, he gets back to his the old profession of lending money. But this is in much higher level. Okay, so he begins like a financial institution wherein people come and pledge the documents and they take loan. Okay, so finally he also asks people to deposit money wherein he can give them interest also. Okay, so he gets sacks and sacks of money, he takes it home. Okay, he has no time to count it also. So he was so much into earning of money that he neglects his family. Okay, so his son Balu just fails in his exams even after 2 and 3 attempts. Okay, so he completely neglects the family, and finally Balu runs away from home also because of the pressure he is facing from his father. Okay, so there after the rise of Margaya, all these happens. Okay, so then Margaya goes to Madras. One day, Meenakshi, that is Margaya's wife, receives a message that Balu is dead in Madras. Okay, so she is completely dejected. She doesn't want to live and all. Then finally, Margaya, upon his brother's suggestion, just goes to Madras and he looks for his son. He finds him, and with the help of a police inspector, and he brings him back to Malgudi. Okay, then finally both the husband and wife decide that they have to keep Balu happy. Okay, then finally somehow they get him married also, even though the horoscope doesn't match. They get him married to a girl called Brinda. Okay, so then later what happens, there is a rift between the father and the son, that is Balu and Margaya, for the ancestral property. Balu, instigated by Dr. Pal, goes and asks a share in ancestral property from Margaya. Okay, so then later Margaya feels very bad that he scolded his son for asking ancestral property, and when he goes to visit Balu at night, then what happens? There he comes to know, he learns that every day Dr. Pal visits his house, and every day they are out for long hours in the night. Okay, so when Balu and Dr. Pal return in the wee hours of night, then by that time Brinda had already confessed to her father-in-law about Balu's whereabouts. Then when they come back, he gets furious looking at Dr. Pal for spoiling Balu's life. Then he beats him up nicely. Then from then the downfall of Margaya starts again. That is, he returns to his earlier state. How does it happen? Dr. Pal actually goes around disgracing Margaya. Okay, he spreads bad words about Margaya, saying he has rejected him, he has cheated him, everything. So whoever had invested in Margaya's financial institution, all of them come back asking for money back. Okay, so they wanted their deposits back. Okay, so after this, Margaya had to return all the money to them. Then finally he becomes bankrupt. So he had to sell all the jewels and all what was done, what he got done when he got money. Okay, so everything he returns, and finally he comes back to his original state, which he was there in the initial part of that is the beginning of the novel. Okay, finally Balu also returns home. He decides to stay with his father and mother there. Okay, so both the families are united now, and Dr. Pal is kept away from Margaya's life. So this is the overall summary. Okay, so this is the whole story. So if you know this, you can just go on expanding. So to begin with, we'll start with part 1. Okay, we have so many things to understand in part 1. Okay, so I'll just tell you the gist of what is there in part 1. Okay, so like when we come back to class, we can have more of discussion. So I'll just tell you what is there in part 1. So if you remember these points, you can go on expanding. Okay, so you can go on expanding here. So first thing that is described is Margaya's workplace. Okay, so you must remember it is the banyan tree and the bank. Okay, so you must remember this, and the iron box. So these are the things you have to remember when you're talking about Margaya's workplace. Okay. So there were many clients also for Margaya, so you can mention their names also. Like we had earlier discussed about the clients of Margaya. One of the previous sessions, we had discussed about the clients of Margaya. Okay, that is Kanda, Mallanna, all these you can write about if you're writing about the workplace of Margaya. So it starts with Margaya's workplace. Part 1 starts with the picturization of Margaya's workplace and few clients who come to visit Margaya for loan purpose. Okay, so when we come to Margaya's home, after this Margaya's home is described there. It is actually partition between Margaya's brother and Margaya. Okay, so the whole house is partition, but at the backyard there is a well. There is a well at the backyard which is not partitioned. Okay, on humanitarian grounds, Margaya has agreed to lend water in the sense share water, you can say. Lending, instead of lending, you can say share water with his brother that is got from the well. Okay, so that is very important here. Though the house is partitioned, the well is not partitioned. Okay, so the picturization of house is given here in the that is in the first part, that is the initial part. So that is there. Then this is one of the important incidents that happens. Okay, so Balu is very naughty. Okay, so he doesn't listen either to his mother or his father. Okay, so what happens one day, like usually when Margaya goes out for work, Meenakshi will be looking after Balu. As soon as Margaya comes back from work, Meenakshi will hand over Balu to Margaya, and she is very much into the household chores. Okay, so what happens, Balu is being looked after by Margaya. Okay, so one day what happens, Balu is playing with a wick. Okay, wick, he just rolls a paper in the form of a wick and he tries to burn that. Okay, so here what happens, he accidentally burns his finger. Okay, Balu accidentally burns his finger. Okay, so after that he makes such a hue and cry that everybody there is so like they get scared and they run to their house. So Meenakshi runs back to home, and she was outside washing vessels or something. Then she just runs inside and she asks Margaya what happened. So finally he tells, I could have avoided him, but I wanted to see what he does, so I did not avoid him, he says. Then finally Meenakshi blames Margaya for being very careless towards the child. Okay, so then Balu's only one finger was burnt, in a very little it was burnt. Okay, but still he doesn't allow anybody to touch him. He demands for peppermint. Okay, so here you can just understand the mentality of the mindset of Balu. Okay, from childhood, right from childhood only, he was too adamant. Okay, he was too adamant, arrogant. Okay, he never used to obey the parents. Whereas Margaya was too much attached to his son, so he does whatever the son wants him to do. He gets peppermint, he doesn't touch the child, like nobody is allowed near the child because the hand is burnt, and he wants everything to be served to him, the place where he was sitting only. So such type of treatment is given to Balu when he has burnt his hand only. Okay, so at that time only, had they bent him, okay, so probably he would have changed, but they didn't do it. They showed lot of love towards Balu, so he becomes very adamant. Okay, so that you have to understand here. He has just burnt a finger, so this is the burning of a finger in the lamp. So that incident happens. After that is the conversation between Arul Das and Margaya. Okay, Arul Das, as you know, he is the peon of the cooperative bank. Okay, he is a Christian. Okay, he is a Christian. So he is the only bridge between the cooperative bank and Margaya. So whatever the secretary in the cooperative bank says, he comes and delivers it to, he comes and conveys it to Margaya. Okay, so that is what the peon, that is Arul Das, does. So one day what happens, he constantly, secretary has been warning Margaya to stay away from the cooperative bank, but Margaya hadn't done it. So one day Arul Das gives a strict warning. Okay, he gives him strict warning to stay away from the cooperative bank. But later Margaya, he gives such a back answer that secretary feels so annoyed. He just comes out of the cooperative bank. That is during the closure of the day. What he does is, secretary himself comes out of the cooperative bank, and he has a dispute with Margaya. He quarrels nicely with Margaya. Okay, the secretary quarrels nicely with Margaya. Finally, he takes that those application forms which were there in Margaya's iron box, and he throws it. Okay, he says, this is the property of the cooperative bank. How come it is with you? Okay, he says that, and he just takes it away and he confiscates it. Okay, so he just throws everything, that is the iron box and all. Then Margaya just takes everything, and he feels very insulted in front of everybody. Okay, then he just takes everything that is his belongings, and he leaves the place. Okay, then all the clients who were there near him think that Margaya is not going to come the next day. But again, Margaya comes in a different appearance from the next day. So what happens? He goes to work more tidily. Okay, from the next day, Margaya starts going to work more tidily. What does he do? So whatever he was wearing for some wedding or something, okay, he wears a neatly ironed dhoti, okay, almost a new one, which he used to wear for wedding and all. Okay, so that one he will wear, and he goes for work. Meenakshi is so astonished to see him in such an attire. She thinks that he is going for some wedding, but no, he is going for work. He thinks the way he appears in front of villagers or in front of secretary is the root cause of all this dispute that has happened. Okay, had he been tidily dressed, then he wouldn't have been touched by the secretary. That is what Margaya feels. Okay, so that's the reason he goes more tidily for work. Okay, that day while returning from work, Margaya actually was very much obsessed with the thoughts of earning money. Okay, like after when this secretary, after he told Margaya to stay away from cooperative bank, he feels that his earning might go down. So what he thinks, he feels that he has to look for ways in which he can earn money. Okay, so what he does, he is fully obsessed with the thoughts of money only. Okay, then he just goes to a priest there near the that is in the temple nearby. Okay, he just goes and meets the priest. So he asks him what can be done to earn money. Okay, so priest, who was a very pious man, he gives a lot of information to Margaya about he doing a puja for a boy who was there. Like he takes him also to that place, and he shows how puja can be done in order to change somebody's life. Okay, so with this, Margaya is assured that yes, he can earn money by doing some puja. Okay, so then after he meets the priest, then what he does, he actually, priest says, with puja you can change your life, so you can get ways in which you can earn money. So after that, he goes home with the thoughts of money only, earning money only. He goes back home. Okay, after that, the gutter incident happens. Okay, so gutter incident occupies a very important position in this novel. Okay, this is a short question in your question paper. Okay, this will be asked one or the other way. This will be there in your question paper. Okay, so here when it comes to gutter incident, you must write about Balu taking that register, which that is the account book which Margaya had maintained, and throwing it into the gutter. So let me not repeat it here, because we have already repeated almost 3 or 4 times about this gutter incident. So just do that. And here also you can see the adamant way in which Balu behaves. Okay, he throws it to the gutter. Finally, when Margaya goes and starts beating Balu, people over there, they come and save Balu, thinking Margaya is unnecessarily beating this child. Okay, then finally, when everybody saves, when many people come and save Balu, Balu demands for peppermint again from the nearby shop. So when Margaya comes to know that Balu is not going to spare me, Balu is not going to leave me like this, he decides he has to get the peppermint, and finally he just takes him home without speaking any word. Okay, so this is about the gutter incident. After that, so due to this loss of account book, what and all are the complications that have taken place in Margaya's life? Okay, so people don't pay money. Okay, people don't return money to Margaya. Okay, so then many of them who had to pay him, okay, especially this person Kali had to pay, has owed him lot of money. Okay, but what Kali does is he knows that Margaya has lost his account book. So what he does, he says, I have to pay you only so much, and he just pays partial amount, that is very little amount, negotiable amount, and he just settles whatever has to be paid. That's it. That was the end of it. Finally, next, when we go there, then again Margaya goes and meets the priest. Okay, so there now, before he was just obsessed with the thoughts, but now it has become a necessity. This becomes a necessity for him to pay the, like he has to earn money. Okay, so then he goes and meets the priest, asking him what to do. So the priest suggests Margaya to go and get his horoscope. Okay, so after seeing the horoscope, the priest can suggest what can be done to earn money. Okay, so horoscope, he just goes and searches for his horoscope. Okay, it is at this point that Margaya's original name is known to the readers. Okay, so here at this point of time, the original name of Margaya, that is Krishna. Okay, original name is Krishna. This is known to the readers. Okay, so he goes and searches for the horoscope. So when he was searching also, Meenakshi and Balu, they both come and sit with him. Okay, so they are also very keen on knowing what he is searching. So he goes there, he searches for his horoscope, he gets it, and then he takes it to the priest. So when he shows his horoscope to the priest suggests him to do Lakshmi Puja. This is also a very important incident in this financial expert. That is because that becomes the reason for the rise of Margaya. Okay, so he suggests him to do this Lakshmi Puja, and he suggests a few things that have to be done. That is, he has to smear this ghee in the skin of antelope. Okay, so everything priest said Margaya has to arrange. So Margaya, what he does, he just goes in search of the lotus flower. Okay, so one red lotus flower has to be got. Then after that, he also has to get ghee. Okay, he has to get ghee that is prepared out of the milk of a brown color, that is ash color cow. Okay, so then he goes in search of that also. Okay, so he goes in search of this one lotus flower first. Okay, so that is the pond incident. Okay, lotus flower pond incident. And after he just goes in search, he thinks he has to go home and get it prepared. Okay, get the place prepared. He had to start his puja on one particular day, that is the full moon day. He had to start it on the full moon day. So what he does, he goes back, that is maybe 2 days was left for puja. So he goes back and tells Meenakshi to get the place cleaned. Okay, the room in which he has to do, he has to perform the puja. He orders Meenakshi to clean the place. Okay, so he orders Meenakshi to clean the place for his puja. Then she does it very religiously. Okay, so you know the character of Meenakshi, isn't it? She is a very pious lady. She obeys whatever the husband says. Okay, she never goes away by the words of her husband. Okay, so she cleans the place for him. She cleans that room for him. Okay, but she, at the same time, Meenakshi, though she's obeying whatever her husband says, she's also awed by his, she is not, awed means it is not a kind of surprise, but it is a kind of irritation. Okay, she's getting annoyed by the way he is behaving. Okay, so all his activities are just annoying her. Okay, so she feels it is too much. Fine. She is very much annoyed by this, but still she does everything. She cleans the room for him and all. By that time, Margaya just goes in search of that lotus flower. Okay. So then he begins this puja on a full moon day. As I said, they might ask you for one mark question also on, that is, when did he begin his puja. Okay. So 1 mark questions can be anything. You just have to go through the novel. Few here and there, few important points might be you have to just remember. Okay. So such points are one of those. Okay. So he begins it on the full moon day. So he does it as per the specifications of the priest. Okay, so he begins it like specifications of the priest means the flour color, what he has told, the milk, the ghee that has to be prepared from one particular cow, that is the milk got from one particular cow. So like this. So all those specifications are maintained. Okay, so finally he goes in search of red lotus, as I said. So here you have to write about the pond incident, which becomes the reason for Margaya's rise. Okay, so there he meets Dr. Pal. So this becomes a very detailed the explanation as to how was Dr. Pal's meeting with Margaya, then how does Dr. Pal take Margaya to his house. So everything is told in detail over here. Okay, so I suggest you to read the incident there in the text so that it will be like you can picturize. Okay, R.K. Narayan's description you can just picturize in your mind. Okay, so he goes and meets Dr. Pal. This is the pond incident. Okay, this is the pond incident, and you can also write about Margaya's visit. You can also write about Margaya's visit to Dr. Pal's room. Okay, so there Dr. Pal's actually talks about the manuscript he has written. Okay, manuscript Dr. Pal has written. So here there is a discussion about the Dr. Pal's book. Okay, so there is a discussion about Dr. Pal's book, that is the Bed Life. Okay, so he discusses, but he doesn't go deeper into that. Okay, he thinks, yes, this person is little weird, and he just comes out. Whatever he wanted, that is the lotus flower, whatever he wanted, he gets it and he comes back. Here there is no discussion about the business that is going to happen. This is not the time where he doesn't buy the manuscript. Okay, at this point of time, Dr. Pal just tells him about the book and Margaya leaves the place. Okay, so after that, maybe for so many days, Margaya does this Lakshmi Puja. Okay, he comes out of the room. He doesn't go out of the room at all. From morning to evening, he has to chant mantras and all for Lakshmi Puja, and he has no time. Almost 101 times he had to chant it, and he doesn't have time to go out to the, that is, show his face to the outside world at all. He's completely inside the house only. So he feels lost to the outside world. People hadn't seen him for days together. Okay, so that happens, and finally when he comes out of the house after puja, he has lost weight, he has grown his beard. Okay, he is completely a different person. Okay, so people are surprised to see him outside the house. Finally, many people ask him, where had you been, Margaya, all these days? Okay, so that is what happens when he comes out of the house. Okay, so here, as I said, he appears to have lost weight. Since he has grown his beard and all, he appears very weak also. Okay, so almost most of his money he had spent for puja. Okay, he had spent so much of money that he didn't have money to buy the provision also. Okay, so that much money he had spent on puja. So whatever savings he had, everything he had spent, and he had nothing to buy the provisions also for home. Okay, so he goes out in the street and meets people also. Okay, so as I said, many of them ask him where he was all these days. Fine. Afterwards, he goes and meets Dr. Pal also. Okay, this is because he thinks about his situation. He has no money to do anything. He has to earn money one or the other way, in one or the other way. Okay, so the easiest way he has got is to discuss about Dr. Pal, about the manuscript. Okay, Dr. Pal actually speaks about getting the book published earlier when Margaya had met him. But Margaya was not serious about it. But now, since he doesn't have any money for his household expenses also, he decides to meet Dr. Pal, and he goes and meets him. Okay, Dr. Pal speaks, again he speaks about his book, and he offers Margaya to buy the manuscript. Finally, he buys the manuscript for how much? Margaya says, like, Margaya was not very serious about the business. So he just wanted to get rid of Dr. Pal there. But at the same time, if he gets this book published, people are going to read it, because this, everybody wants to read about it, but nobody wants to discuss in public. Okay, so he thinks that people will buy this book, and what he decides, he says, I don't have much money. So, but Dr. Pal is ready to give it away. He is ready to sell the book for whatever money Margaya has in his pocket. Okay, so Margaya was surprised. He just, whatever was there in his pocket, he just gives him, saving 5 rupees for himself. He just pays all the money and he gets the manuscript. After getting it, he immediately starts from there and directly goes home. Okay, but he didn't want that to be seen by the child or by his child or his wife. So he just goes home, and though he carried the manuscript home, he conceals it in a newspaper and he hid it from everyone. He just keeps it inside the almirah, you can say. Okay, like nowadays we use this wardrobe. So previously they were using almirahs and all. So inside that he just hides it. But later in the night, Margaya talks about this manuscript to his wife. Okay, so he tells about this manuscript to his wife. Okay, she feels very shy, very embarrassed to discuss about it, such a topic. But then she is also interested in that. So what Margaya does, he reads one or two chapters over there in that book for her. She is inquisitive to know what is there, but at the same time she is not ready to accept that she is understanding such a topic. Okay, so she's very reluctantly she listens to what Margaya reads also. So after that, what he does the next morning, he directly goes to the Gordon printing press. Okay, so this is very important question. They will ask you for 1 mark. So she goes to Gordon press and he talks about publication of that manuscript. Okay, he wants to change the name. He cannot keep the same name like the bed life. He cannot keep the same name. So he wants to change the name for that. Finally, he discusses with Madan Pal, who is the publisher. Okay, so what he does is he reads the manuscript completely. Madan Lal actually first says, no, I have to read the book and then only I'll let you know whether it has to be published or not. Then Margaya says, okay, read it in front of me. I'll sit in front of you. But Madan Lal is not ready to do that. He says, you leave the manuscript with me, but Margaya doesn't agree for that. He says, no, whatever you're reading, you're going to do it in front of me only. I am not going to leave the manuscript with you. Finally, Madan Lal just budges. He says, I'll get breakfast for you, I'll get food for you, you stay here only. Finally, by the end of the day, okay, the business is finalized. Madan Lal agrees to publish the book. Here you must notice Margaya doesn't want to show that he doesn't know anything about publishing of book. Okay, though Madan Lal, he uses many technical words like the size of the sheet, the quality of the paper, everything he discusses with Margaya. But Margaya, though he doesn't know anything about it, he speaks in such a way that he knows so many things. Okay, so you must know, you must understand how Margaya does it very diplomatically. So go through the text there. Okay, so finally they conclude with 50% of profit. They wanted to share their profit. So he does that. He agrees and he leaves the manuscript for publishing and he comes back. Okay, after that Balu is admitted to school. Okay, Balu is admitted to one of the nearby schools there. Then finally Murthy is the name of a person who is appointed as a home tutor for Balu. Okay, so Murthy will be appointed as home tutor there. Then yeah, Balu is not a very serious student. He was not a student in the school. He doesn't study well there. Okay, he just one day Margaya just checks the condition of Balu's room. Okay, it was very helter-skelter. All the books were just helter-skelter, not at all neat. It was very much disorganized. Okay, his room was very much disorganized. He doesn't keep the things back from where it has been taken. And the same way you can just judge the character of Balu also. He was not organized in his life. Okay, he just wanted to be very easygoing. He wanted to just enjoy his father's money. So such type of character was Balu. Fine. So you can just write about this. You just go through the place, that is in part 1 only. Towards the end of part 1, you can read about the condition of Balu's room. Okay. So then Margaya feels, no, this has to be corrected, and he tries to correct Balu also, but he is very adamant. He doesn't correct himself at all. Okay. So that has been intricate in the character of Balu also. Okay. So that shows what is the character of Balu. Then finally, Margaya, what he does, he feels that he has earned enough and he wanted to give up this publishing business. Okay, he surrenders the book to the printer for a lump sum amount. He doesn't want loyalty hereafter. He just gives it to him for a lump sum amount. He just gets the money and fine, that is done. He just gets rid of this publishing business. This is given in part 1 only. So by this we have covered the part 1 and part 2 of the financial expert. So in the next session we will be discussing about part 3, 4 and 5 that are there in financial expert. These three are very short parts, okay, very less text is there. Part 1 is the longest part, okay. So let us discuss about the remaining parts in the coming session. Hope this session was very interesting to you. So see you soon in another more interesting session of the remaining parts of financial expert. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. See you soon.